Yeah, assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Yeah, thank you all for coming. Once again, this is the correctional officer's page. That is aka babashuaib. Thank you all for coming. Another day, another week, and we are here again. And this is my way I invite to Allah by perception. I and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters, right? So peace be upon you all. Let me give some shout outs to the people who are here before I start. We started a bit late. Salam Aziz Sanusi, I see you. Taulant, I see you. Z. Kamal Bader Sain, I see you. Rashid Jawaid, Tariq Ayub, Shazma, Salah Baba, Abdul Samad Adam, Salah, Baba Platini, I see you. Safia Stusi, Mohammed Iqbal, Abubakar Bangura, Niko Tijani, Cassandra Lak, Tujis, I see you, Tujis, Salam. Baba Sedu the Salis, I know you'll join later. Salam Amira N, I see you, Salam. I see you. I say Leo Diligent, I see you. Yes. So on TikTok, yes, we have some people online. Yes. Onni says, bro, you are handsome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks to God for making me handsome and not legsome. At least it's handsome, not legsome. So it's good. Salam, user 981. Yes. Let me see. User 981. Yeah, user 981. Yes, only I can speak Finnish. Puhun suomea. Kyllä. Puhun suomea. Yes. So thank you all for coming. This is the correctional officer. Today we are going to do another Q&A section. Salam, the boss Amadu. After I say the greetings, I might skip. Yeah, no problem, Ahmed. Yeah. Theo says, speak English. Yes, I speak English. Can you see Samu is leprechaun for 3 roses? Can you say Samu is a leprechaun for 3 roses? Simon, yeah, good evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. Peace be upon you all. This is the correctional officer, babashuaib, question and answer section. At the moment, I cannot pick up any guests on TikTok. I have some questions to deal with. For those on TikTok, if only, let's say, I have enough energy after this, after these lectures, if I have energy and I stop Facebook and YouTube, then I can focus on TikTok, right? But if I don't have energy, then I have to stop altogether at the same time. So thank you all for patronizing this platform. Yeah. So let's move on. Enough with the greetings now. So let's focus on the topic of today. Right? So the topic of today, we have to deal with the questions I've been asked during the week. And usually when people ask me questions, if I feel like answering them, if I feel like, okay, the majority of the people don't actually need this, I answer privately, right? If I feel like, okay, this question particularly must be addressed to the public, then I'll bring it. But if I already have the video, usually I don't like to repeat myself if I have the video on it. But some of my videos are old, so I'll prefer like to remake such videos so that people can actually benefit from the latest info. Right? Simon says, sorry, I've been trying to ask you about Friday prayer. There is nothing called Friday prayer in the Quran. I have a video on it. I've been asked several times the questions. I've answered them. If you're following me, I can give you the link later on, but I'm not going to repeat myself right now. Yeah, something went into my eye. Okay, so I'm not going to. Yes, Makoria Moripsis. Yeah, so many moon silmin. Boom Peters na ota same points. Yo. No need. Okay, so thank you very much. Kas Suleiman Abdul Karim. Okay, we are 13 minutes into the program. I've not started yet. Let me focus, please, on the questions I'm going to deal with right now. Yamasi Hamza Kongolo, you're welcome. Salam. The questions I've been asked during the week, I've been asked about 5 questions. So I'm going to answer them within my 2 hours lecture now. I'm going to answer them. If God permits and the time is on my side, I can finish them on time. Then I can deal with the excess questions people are asking during the program, right? And that will be more beneficial for the audience as well. So for me not to be distracted, let me stay focused and then deal with the questions I've been asked, right? So thank you all for coming. First of all, I've been asked during the week, before I move on to the question and answer, I want people to understand that babashuaib, correctional officer, my platform is not for emotional people. If you are emotional, you are advised to stay away, because the things I say it as it is. And if you are emotional, you can't handle, because if you think I'm name calling people, then it seems you don't understand Islam and you don't understand the Quran, right? You can be defined by your character or your actions. You can be defined. For instance, if somebody goes to steal money regularly, it's called a thief. And that is not an insult. A thief is somebody who steals, who goes to steal, right? Regularly, he steals as a live for his living. And that is a thief, right? So somebody who defrauds people is called a fraudster. Somebody who rapes people is called a rapist. Somebody who actually murders people is called a murderer, right? What about somebody who does shirk? It's called what? A mushrik. Now, what is shirk? To associate something with something when you don't have permission to do that. You become a mushrik. So if you are following hadith books and I ask you, where does God ask you to follow hadith books or attach hadith books with Quran, and you cannot prove it, automatically you become a mushrik. So I'm not insulting you, I'm defining you, right? So I don't see why you should be offended when I call you a mushrik. You are offended, then stop doing shirk. If you are not doing shirk and I call you a mushrik, then that is an insult. Some foolish people think I'm actually insulting Muslims. I'm not against Muslims. And who is a Muslim? Somebody who actually submits his will to God, and he will do what God asks for, and therefore that will make him a mu'min, a believer. So a believer is the one God is always speaking to. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu. They put their faith in God and they trust in God. So they will do what God has asked for. So that is a believer. But if you are a Muslim, you surrender that there's only one entity who is your creator, and that in essence becomes faith. And faith is defined as religion, because that is faith. You believe in a supernatural being who controls your destiny. Simple. So by this essence, if I call you a kafir, there have to be an evidence to that. I have to prove that why you are a kafir. If you are a mushrik, I have to prove that. if you are a believer, I have to prove that to you why you are a believer. Because according to Quran chapter 2, verse 8, among the people are those who say we believe in God and the last day, but they are not believers. So it is not just by words, it's by action. So your action gives me the right to call you a mushrik. If you don't understand, go to Quran chapter 109, verse 1. The messenger was asked to address some people. And who were the people? He says, Kul, ya ayyuhal kafirun. Now, it is not an insult. Just as we have people who call themselves atheists, we have people who call themselves agnostic. And so is if you call yourself a Sunni Muslim, you are a mushrik because God said you should be a Muslim. Quran chapter 27, verse 91. The Prophet says, Wa umirtu an akuna minal muslimin. So he has been commanded to be of the Muslims. And you said you are a Sunni Muslim. You are a mushrik because God never gave you a religion called Sunni Islam, right? So you join Sunni to Islam. So Sunni Muslim makes you a mushrik. Why are you offended? You call yourself a Shiite, a Shia Muslim. You are a mushrik. I'm not insulting you. I'm defining. Look, let's sit anywhere. I'll beat you with logic and common sense. You know that, right? But you are just emotional because when you see me, you hate me. So you have to find a reason to insult me. Fine. I love your insults. It keeps me going, right? For the past 6 years, I keep going because your insults are, very good for me. it motivates me to keep going. And that's why when I struck the punch, within less than 1 minute, you're agitated. I love it anyway. Keep the insults coming. There's a reason why they called me the correctional officer. So thank you. Yeah, salam for those who are joining now. Sister Alma Johnson, I see you, Brother Ibu. Thank you all for coming, right? So I don't sit here to insult people. And sometimes people think I'm sitting here insulting my audience. I don't insult my audience at all. Because most of my audience, I would say my audience are the intelligent ones. They listen to me with intellect, right? So when I look at the camera and I say things, I'm not insulting my audience. They know. Who am I insulting? As a matter of fact, I don't insult people. I only describe who you are and what you do. That's what I describe. I don't insult. Why would I insult you? What did you do to me? Nothing. Why will I insult you? Right? Yeah, Salam Robson, you're welcome. Salam Isa Watson. So when God asked the prophet, the messenger, Quran chapter 41, verse 6, when he asked him to say, woe to the mushrikun or mushrikeen, because they are mushriks. That's why you woe to them. Waili lil mushrikeen, or is it mushrikun? Chapter 41, verse 6, right? Waili lil mushrikeen. So they are mushriks. If you are a mushrik and you are told a mushrik, why are you offended? I don't get it. Look, I'm like, this is me. You see me. I'm an African. I'm black. Why should you call me a black man and I'm offended? It is my description. It is who I am. Why will you call me black man? Oh, he's a black man. And I will be offended. Why? I wouldn't be offended because it is who I am. If you are proudly doing shirk, earn it. You deserve it. If you're called a mush, don't be offended. It's simple. God is inviting you to Millata Ibrahima and is asking you to follow his guidance. You said no, Islam cannot be practiced without your garbage books. And again, when I say garbage books, they will say I'm insulting your books. Okay, let me help you out. What is the meaning of garbage? For those on Facebook and YouTube, okay, I don't need to share the page. Anyways, you all have dictionaries in your house, right? So let's check the meaning of garbage. So in essence, garbage has different meaning, multiple meanings, but it is based on the context you are using it. If you're talking about food, then garbage becomes food that is discarded, that you put to the waste. What about if you are talking about a message or a text, and I say this is garbage? It becomes a worthless message. It's worthless. Because if God says the Quran is sufficient, أَوَلَمْ يَخْفِهِمْ أَنَّ أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ, Quran chapter 29, verse 51, the book is sufficient. Why? It's sufficient, right? So if it's sufficient, anything else you bring to me is worthless, is garbage. I'm not insulting you. I'm telling you the truth. But Quran chapter 43, verse 78, God says, لَقَدْ جِينَاكُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَكُمْ لِلْحَقِّ لَكَارِهُونَ. We have brought you the truth, but most of you hate the truth. So if I tell you the truth as it is, of course, if you are an emotional being, you'll be triggered. So if I tell you your books are garbages, they are garbages to me. They might not be garbages to you. So if I say garbages, I'm telling you the deepest, the bitter truth. I'm not playing with your conscience. I can sit you down and whip you with logic. You know that. And that is why your scholars are not stepping forth. Right? So I'm not here to romance your ego. I will tell you the truth in your face. You know that. So if you ask me, babashuaib, why do you call us mushrik? You are a mushrik. In the first place, God never gave you Sunni Islam. He never gave you Shia Islam. He never gave you Tijaniya Islam, Ahmadiyya Islam. You are the ones who concocted these things and added it to the deen of God. He says, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum nimati wa raditu lakum al-islam dina. He has completed the deen and named it Islam for you. You said Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, Tijaniya Islam, Ahmadiyya Islam. Why are you fooling yourselves? And you are told the truth and you are agitated? Is it a big deal? No problem. Let's move on. Everything babashuaib says on my platform, I can prove it. Put me to the test. Bring your scholars. They are watching me every day. I know. You bring them face to face. Okay, don't bring their scholars because they think they are celebrities. They are too big. Most of them keep telling me, oh, because you don't have large audience, so I don't want to face you. You are waiting till I have the large audience. Huh? Don't worry. Rome was not built in a day. The audience will come. I'll face you. You keep running, but I will get you no matter who you are. Inshallah. So the first question for today, salam for all those who are coming. Wasiu Ibn Muhammad, Balogun, I see you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all. Yes. The first question I was asked is music haram according to chapter 31, verse 6? That's what I was asked. Is music haram? That's the question. Many a times you hear people say, oh, music is haram. Music is haram. By the way, Arabians say music or music. So music, music. So it's music, right? That is an Arabic language. So if somebody tells you music is haram, first of all, ask them the word music, is it in the Quran? Just ask them that first word. Is it in the Quran? If they say no, then ask them where did they come with the concept of the music being haram? So if they say it's haram, let's analyze and see chapter 31, verse 6. Now, regardless of the way the verse is, right? We have certain notions of verses where people can deduce a meaning, which in actual sense, that is not the context, right? But we are going to analyze chapter 31, verse 6, and we are going to go to verse 7 and join the context to understand what was the essence of the message being addressed. But if somebody says music is haram, in the first place, let's see the definition of music, right? For those based on YouTube and Facebook, Salam Ismail Suleiman, those based on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to put the verse on the screen, and then we are going to see what is music, right? So if you have your dictionaries as well, you can check the definition of music. I'm only trying to put it here for the sake of people trying to discern, to find the easiness in understanding what is being said, right? So let me put it here. So I'm going to put the first and second meaning of the word music. And I'll share the screen on Facebook and YouTube And then let's see. So when we say music, we are talking about an artistic form of what? Auditory. That is auditory communication. That is which has to do with audio, right? Communication. Aha. Yes, Kamil S. Baba. Yes, I see you. Yes, PhD professor. Yes, salam. Okay, so music, an artistic form of auditory communication incorporating instrumental or vocal tones in a structured and continuous manner. Second meaning, any agreeable, which is into bracket, we can say pleasing and harmonious sounds. This is music. Now, many a times you will see the misunderstandings we have. Sometimes people try to join poetry with music, right? So a person will write a poem and then try to sing it to the people. That can be classified music. But however, poetry is separate from music. The Quran can be done in a way, can be recited or read in a way which is in a monotonous fashion, which can be classified as music to the ears. When the birds are singing in the morning and evenings, when you hear the humming of the birds, that can be classified as music to the ears. So when we say music here, we are talking about a sound that is being played in a melodious way that you continue hearing the same melody in your ears, gives you a sound. So that is music. So in actual sense, the word music itself is not mentioned in the Quran because it has nothing to do with Islam. However, coming to the point of understanding if music is halal or haram, unlike when God mentioned khinzir, he mentioned pork, he mentioned blood, he mentioned maitat, dead animal, he mentioned specific things directly to tell you this is haram, this is halal. Unlike such, you don't find music being haram. But does it mean I'm trying to instruct the people that you can listen to any type of music? That is not my point. So let's check the verse. We go to Quran chapter, I'm going to take you to Quran chapter 31, verse 6, and we read downwards, right? Salam Nur, Nur Baba, Nur, Nara Power, Prime and Proper, TikTok. Thank you all for coming. Salam to you all. So let's check. Yeah. So I take you to Quran chapter 31, verse 6, right? Let me maximize it so that people can see the verses on the screen as clear as the possible. Yeah, salam Liman Imran, I see you, salam. Okay, so Quran chapter 31, verse 6. Now, okay, let's focus on the Arabic aspect of it, right? In the Arabic aspect of the verse, we go to verse 6, and God says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْتَرِي لَهْوَ الْحَدِيثِ لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ الْعِلْمِ. Then he says, وَيَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا. Then he says, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. So we go to verse 7. Then he says, وَإِذَا تُتُلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا وَلَّى مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَنْ لَمْ يَسْمَعْهَا. Then he says, كَأَنَّ فِي أُذُنَيْهِ وَقْرًا. Then he says, فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Okay, so now the verse says, and among the people is one who buys. When we say yashtari, is to do trading, to actually purchase something, to buy something, to exchange something, is all part of trade. Because back in the olden days, people exchange stuffs in the sense of trading, right? like buying. Like let's say I have a phone and then you have this cup and I need it. I have to bring something in equivalence to exchange. So yeshtari can be in exchange, right? So just like a money is the medium of exchange. Money that we use, the currency, is a medium of exchange, right? So that is the word yeshtari. So this yashtari, then God says la wal hadith. So when we say lahwa, it is something which causes diversion. So when diversion, like when somebody's playing, they are diverted. Let's say you are in the classroom, a teacher is teaching, and then you are playing. That becomes a diversion. So whenever the act of activity of playing, amusement comes in, it diverts your attention. So it can be a playful act, amusement act, or a diversion act. So the God says the ones who trade, who exchange, that is the Allah wal hadith. So you can see, because of for people who know this mudafa, that is idaf ilayl, mudaf ilayl, this la wal hadith gives the hadith to become a definite article because of the lahwa is joined together. So this la wal hadith is to signify the diversion hadith, right? The diversion hadith, which means this hadith, specific hadith, cause as is an act of causing you to be diverted. But let's look at the context. Can it only be assigned to music? In some cases, you can decide to involve music, but the context, can it only be assigned to music? Right? There are different forms of music. I can listen to a music without somebody talking. I can listen to instrumentals. I can listen to certain type of conscious music. Let's say reggae music, and they are talking about consciousness. Maybe they don't mention any profanity or anything which caused an act of shirk. I can listen to such. Music on its own is not haram. However, if you are a believer, I would advise you have to avoid nonsense. When you say lagaw, lagawi is something which is nonsensical. Quran chapter 23 verse 3. So if you're planning to be a believer, or if you are a believer, you have to avoid nonsense talk. So if music is nonsensical, avoid it. And it doesn't have to be only music. Even if it's a book you take and it's nonsensical, avoid it. Like for me, I will tell you, if you're a Muslim, if you're a believer, real believer, avoid reading hadith books. You know why, right? They are garbages. Okay. So the diversion discourse. So when we say the word hadith, it comes from the word hadatha. When we say hadatha, you find it in Quran chapter 93 verse 11, where God says, فَأَمَّا بِنِيمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. So hadith means to narrate something, to talk about something, to discuss something, right? So to discuss, that is where we have it as a noun meaning discourse. So al-hadith, the word hadith in its actual sense means narration or a discourse, right? So this diversion discourse, in order to deviate from the way of God, then it says what? Without knowledge. Because if you have knowledge of the word of God, you will not be deviated, regardless of any discourse you listen to or follow. You will not be deviated. But because you don't have knowledge, you buy such discourse, diversion discourse, or you actually exchange things for such discourse, and then you'll be diverted because you don't have knowledge about the word of God. So you can be diverted from the way of God. Without knowledge and accept it in mockery. People accept the diversion at this. Now, that's why I say let's check the context. The context is trying to tell you something very essential. Because when you're paying attention to this diversion hadith, what it does is it has a lot of mockery in there. Like they tell you, oh, the Prophet married a 6-year-old girl, and then he consummated the marriage when she was 9 years. This is mockery. And then they will tell you the Prophet tried to sleep with 11 wives in one night. This is mockery. They will tell you the Prophet, has concubines, and then, try to do this. This is all mockery. And people don't see it. They accept it in mockery. They take it. They will accept it because they don't have knowledge of the words of God himself. So they will accept this, and this one deviates them from the way of God, because that is in essence what the hadith does. It's a diversion hadith. Whilst God's hadith is the ahsan al-hadith, the best hadith, which will not deviate you. Quran chapter 29 verse 23, right? That is where you find the guidance of God in the ahsan al-hadith. chapter 39, verse 23. But when you take this diversion hadith, what it does to you is it deviates you from the way of God, because we have the way of God where we find it in the Quran. Whilst we have this diversion hadith, it's not the way of God. It takes you somewhere else and with mockery. So accept it in mockery. Those will have a humiliating punishment from who? God. Then verse 7. And when our verses, so now you see, that diversion hadith doesn't contain the verses of God. So it is the way of God, the book of God, which contains the verses of God. So now we are going to recite the verses of God to such a person. And when our verses are recited to him, where do we find the verses of God? In the book of God, right? Arrogantly, he turns away what? Arrogantly, as if he had not heard them. Heard who? The verses of God, them. As if there was deafness in his ears, just like the mushriks do. You're telling them what God says in the Quran, they don't want to listen to you. Deaf ears. Do you see on my page, correctional officer's page? Do you see how the mushriks are trooping with insults? They hate the verses of God. They accept those garbage books with the mockery inside, they accept it. But when you are telling them the actual instance here, arrogantly, they act like they don't hear what babashuaib is saying, but they are interested in who babashuaib is. You understand? So therefore, announce to them of a painful punishment. You go and meet your God, you see. So now, we have checked the verse clearly. We don't see any notion of music in that verse. And we don't see anything triggering our senses to think that it is even talking about music. Do you see the point? So where did this matter of music arise? It arose from the hadith books. They brought that notion, that concept of, oh, one day the prophet was asked, what does the verse mean? And it's talking about music. No, ahi, don't do that. It doesn't mention music there. However, if you want to use it in the context of music to help, advise people with music, fine, there's room for that. But the verse itself is not isolated and it's not talking about music. It's talking about a diversion hadith. So somebody will say, because the word lahwa is mentioned, so then how are we going to translate chapter 62, verse 11, Surah Al-Jum'ah, when God says that when they leave the prophet standing, then they go back to their tijara and their lahwa. So does that mean they went to music? No. Their lahwa can be entertainment. Football is football. Football, do we play music? Football can be classified as lahwa. So can we say football is music? No. Playing video game is also lahwa because it causes diversion. It diverts your attention to something instead of paying attention to something. So something diverting you doesn't necessarily mean it's music. Understand that, right? Okay. So chapter 31, verse 6 has nothing to do with music. So whoever try to interpolate music there, unless if they are trying to use it to advise somebody, fine. But to say that verse is talking about music, no, it's not. And it's actually talking about the diversion hadith, because the God has revealed to you ahsan al-hadith. That is why Quran chapter 4, verse 87, Quran chapter 4, verse 122, if I'm right, it says, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا. Is this chapter 4, verse 100? And let me confirm. Surah An-Nisa. Yes, chapter 4, verse 122 says, Woman asdaku minallahi kila. Then we have woman asdaku minallahi hadisa. Chapter 4, verse 87, right? Chapter 4, verse 87, it says, Woman asdaku minallahi haditha. It tells you clearly that there will be other hadith books. So chapter 31, verse 6, the notion is to tell you there is a particular hadith that can divert you. So it says the diversion hadith. Lahwal hadith. Do you understand? So yes, my attention has come to, and these people will also go to the extent to say musical instruments are haram. But these same mushriks are using microphones and they are using speakers. Yeah, mushrikanga. Hey, mushrikanga. Wow, why Toli so much like that? Eh? Your same mushrik scholars are using microphones. Huh? Even this type of microphone, your scholars have it. They are using all the gadgets in the world we have today, right? They are using speakers. They are using, look at in their mosques. Don't they use the speakers and all the musical instruments? The same instrument the musicians are using. I can't think for this. What are they trying to tell us? These same people will tell you picture is haram, and yet your pictures are everywhere. Mufti Meng, Zakir Naik, everywhere. And they are on YouTube and Facebook and other stuff, doing TikToking and everything. And still they tell you picture is haram. And yes, your picture is circulating everywhere. Hey, Allah bushrikan ka baku jimbagada. Baku respect. Some. Okay, let's go on. Yeah, mushriks will call it secular reasoning. Okay, let's keep up. Okay, so the reason why God says woman asdaku minallahi haditha, he knows some people have their hadith books around. They are loitering around, right? Like we have Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, Jamia Tirmizi, Abu Dawood, Sunan Ibn Nisa, and so on and so forth, right? God knows that. God knows the mushrik who invent such books. So then he gave you Ahsan al-Hadith, Quran chapter 39, verse 23, the best hadith. So you'll be a fool. I repeat, you'll be the biggest fool to leave the best hadith to go and follow garbage hadith. You all know garbage hadith, right? Something which can divert you away from what is good. So that's why God asked you, woman, asdaku min al-hayy haditha, who is more truthful than God in hadith, in a discourse, in a narration? Who? Do you see the point? Okay. Do you see the point? Okay. Yeah. Somebody wrote on TikTok that my voice is echoing. So let me know if you're watching. I don't think it's echoing. I confirmed here it's not echoing. It could be on your side. So kindly check. It's not repeating. It could be on your side. Somebody says, is it in Sister Dawa? Check from your side or try to fix your volume or something there. It is good on my side. I just check on the playback. The audience watching says it's good. You just joined not long ago. So the problem is from your side. Okay, good. All good, right? Okay, so let's go on. So now, as a believer, you have to put Quran chapter 23, verse 3 into perspective, right? So that you avoid what is nonsense, lagaw. When something is lagawy, nonsense, nonsensical, vain talk, avoid it, right? Avoid it. So if it is music and you are going to listen to Eminem, 50 Cent, or whatever, these celebrities or these musicians, they do have good songs as well. They have songs which is meaningful. And then they have songs which is only talking about bad profanity. You try to avoid that. Because the more you listen to bad things or bad words, it wears down on your energy as well. Right? Whatever you listen to many a times can corrupt you physically. Right? Because it goes into your head, you think, you picture it, and then you act on it. Right? So that one also you have to be careful on that. Yeah, thank you very much, Ismail Umar. Thank you for your comment. So coming to the point, when I take you to Quran chapter 36, verse 69, we are going to differentiate music from poetry so that you understand there's a big difference between music and poetry, right? So when we say music, we are talking about something involving instruments. Melodious, something you can hear in a continuous manner, of course, with sound, right? That is music. So even the Quran, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, as some people are doing the tartil, articulating the words of the Quran in a monotonous way, that is also music to the ears. So out of their hypocrisy, if music is haram, why are you singing the Quran to the people? Hello? The last time I checked, that is also music. So stop singing. Just recite. And that is why babashuaib, when I recite the Quran, when I use it as in the speaking form, they hate me. They say, look at this guy. He doesn't know tajweed. No, I'll use tajibush, not weed. Yeah. Okay. So Quran chapter 36, verse 69, right? This is Surah Yasin, right? Yasin. And he says, and we did not teach him poetry. Who is that? He's talking about Muhammad alayhi salam. God did not teach Muhammad what? Shihra. When we say shihra, we are talking about poetry. He wasn't taught poetry, as some people think. They think the Quran is a book of what? Poems or poetry. Just because many a times people recite it or read it in a monotonous way or try to make it in a music form, right? So they think the Quran is a book of poetry, right? It is not. We did not teach him poetry, nor was it necessary. Yambagi lahu. It's not necessary for him. It wasn't necessary for him to be taught that. This is what God says. And this is found in Surah Yasin, chapter 36, verse 69. Oh, sorry, I didn't put it on the screen for my Facebook and YouTube audience. Let me put it. Yeah. So Quran chapter 36, verse 69, it says, and we did not teach him what? Poetry, nor was it necessary for him. It is only a remembrance and a clear what? Reading, because Quran means reading. Qara'a means to read. Quran is a noun, means reading, right? So you read it. So reading here, if you read it, it becomes what? Quran. So this reading is a remembrance, zikra, and is to serve as a what? A reading for you. So it's not poetry. You know how poems work, right? You know how poetry works. And I'm going to use the Quran to explain that. But before I go into that, when we say poetry, let me put it here so people will understand the meaning here. I'll put it here, then I share the meaning. For those on Facebook and YouTube, then you can see it on here, right? So let me share the screen. When we say poetry, we are talking about literature in metrical form. So it is a literature here. When we say poetry, we are talking about literature in metrical form, right? Creative writing of recognized artistic value. That is literature. So literature in a metrical form, that is poetry. Then the second meaning, any communication resembling poetry in beauty or the evocation of feeling. So based on your feeling, you create some what? Communication resembling what? Poetry, and that is poetry. Just like in a poetry form, that is in a literature form, right? To have it in a metric form, and then you put some sequence just to try to create some sense in it, right? And that is poetry. So then we have a poet who speaks, who narrates poetry, right? Quran has nothing to do with poetry. Quran is a message. So it gives you remembrance, right? And it's a clear reading. So you take a reading, you read it as a clear message, and then it gives you zikr, where you can remember something beneficial. But with poem, you just enjoy it. What is there to learn in poem? How does it benefit you? Poetry. Okay. So let's move on. So now we see the meaning of poetry, right? So I take you to the next verse. If you go to Quran chapter 69, verse 41, chapter 69, verse 41, and I share the screen here. It says, and it is not the word of a poet. The Quran you are reading is a clear reading. Quran in Mubin is a clear reading. So God says it is not the word of a poet. The Quran that you are reading is not the word of a poet, which means if the Quran is even coming from a poet, then you know, oh, these statements are from even a poet, even regardless of the Quran not being poetry. You can know. First of all, Muhammad alayhi salam was not a poet. Was it even necessary for him to be taught poetry? So how can he form a book of poems? Do you understand the concept here? So God says it is not the word of a poet. Really, really, do you believe? Really? You understand? Really, do you believe? Now, the next instance is in Quran chapter 26, verse 224. That is we go to Shu'ara, right? So chapter 26, verse 224, then God says, as for the poets, that is the ones who narrate poetry, as for the poets, the strayers will follow them. That is why Prophet Muhammad was not a poet, nor was he taught poetry, because God knows only the strayers will follow the poets, because whatever poem a poet has will not benefit you. And God is going to tell us that. So as for the poets, the strayers will follow them. Then verse 225. Do you not see that they, the poets, they roam in every valley? And God says what? And that they say what they do not do? Because somebody who narrates poetry, a poet who narrates poetry, doesn't actually practice what he's speaking. So one of the things God detests or abhors by God is mentioned in Quran chapter 61. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu lima taqulu ma la taf'alun. If you are a believer in the zikr that God has given you, the message, you have to practice what you preach. But a poet who narrates poetry doesn't practice what he is preaching. Do you see the difference? And that is why it is not necessary for God to even teach Prophet Muhammad poetry, because it's useless. A poet will only narrate poetry for the joy and pleasure of it, but you cannot benefit from it. What do you benefit? You just have a feeling from it. Oh, I love this poem. It's soothing for the soul. And then what happens? Do you get blessing from it? What does it do for you? Does it guide you to heaven? Or what does it do? Does it guide you to God? No. That's what poetry does. So only a strayer will follow a poet, because what does he have to give you? Nothing. He doesn't even practice what he preaches. So that is the example God is. But in actual sense, people will say, does that mean poetry on its own is haram? God never said it's haram. So listen carefully. So these people, they say what they do not do. Right? Now, that is with the topic of what? The Quran not talking about music in the first instance. The Quran doesn't say music is haram, neither does it say poetry is haram. No. But however, you are advised about it. Right? You are advised about it. You want to listen to music? Choose the kind of music you want to listen to carefully. You want to listen to poetry? Choose the kind of poems you want to listen to. Is it a poem which will have a sensible message to lead you to God? Fine, then it's not haram. There's nothing bad about it. God never said poetry on its own is haram. No. He actually differentiated the notion of the Quran from the poet. That's the only thing he did. So understand that point. So that coming back to the answer of the number one, music is not haram and poetry is not haram. Okay. I'll come to your question later, right? Salam Baba said Nagaka. He said, what he says, Tajibush is perfect. The Nuru, Tajibush. Yeah, they said Tajweed. They said we should learn Tajweed. I prefer Tajibush because I will have a lot of bush for the wheat. So if you say Tajibush is like Tajweed is like you are giving me many trouble. So I prefer the bush instead. Tajibush will be better. Okay. So we are done with the Skill Fresh. Bye bye. Bye bye. Skill Fresh. Bye bye. It says I'm out of this. Bye bye. See you later. So let's go to the second question. The second question says, if there are no Rakaat in Salat, how come the Salat was reduced by the Prophet in chapter 4, verse 102? Right? If they are not Rakaat, many a times you hear the sectarian saying, how many Rakaat? If you don't follow the hadith, how can you know how many Rakaat you have to do? When they say Rakaat, it comes from the word Raka'a, which is ruku'in. The ruku'in they talk about, ruku'in, like to do Raka'a, to the posture, to bow, right? Kaisa Zainab, Sister Zainab, I see you. Salam. Yes, salam to you all for coming. So the second question is, if there are no Raka'at in Salat, how come the Salat was reduced by the Prophet in Quran chapter 4, verse 102? That is the question, second question. So let's move to the second question, right? Before time goes against me. So this second question, let's go to chapter 4, verse 102. But before we read chapter 4, verse 102, we are going to start from chapter 4, verse 101. Then we read 102, then we read 103 to understand the context, right? So I take you to the Quran, chapter 4, verse 101. Then I share the screen for those on Facebook and YouTube. It says, and whenever you travel through the land, there is no blame on you in case you shorten from the Salat. He doesn't say you reduce the Salat, or does he say you shorten the Salat? The word mina is used. Taksuru mina Salat. Taksuru mina Salat. So God says, in case you shorten from the Salat, if you fear that those who disbelieve may rout you, meaning they will disturb you, they will cause you fitna. Indeed, the disbelievers are clear enemies to you, right? Okay. So that is reading from verse 101. But when you start from the above, you understand it will give you more context to understanding why God mentioned when you travel through the land, because you are traveling as an immigrant, you are emigrating. So it will depend where you are arriving or where you are, where the disbelievers will disturb you, right? So you can shorten from the Salat, right? It doesn't say shorten the Salat, shorten from the Salat. There is a difference. Taksuru, meaning you reduce something from it. Okay. So let's go. So verse 102. Now he's talking to the Prophet. So this is where, let me read this in Arabic so that people will get to see this part. God says, وَإِذَا كُنْتَ فِيهِمْ فَأَقَمْتَ لَهُمُ الصَّلَاةِ فَلْتَكُمْ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْهُمْ مَعَكَ. Then he says, وَلْيَأْخُذُوا أَسْلِحَتَهُمْ. Then he says, فَإِذَا سَجَدُوا فَلْيَكُونُوا مِنْ وَرَائِكُمْ. Then he says, وَتَأْتِي طَائِفَةُ أُخْرَى لَمْ يُصَلُّوا فَلْيُصَلُّوا مَعَكَ. Now, let's stand there, right? Yeah, let's stand there. Let's stop there. Before I explain, then we finish the verse, right? Okay, so here, God says to the prophet, and when you are among them, you the prophet, when you are among them, then establish the salat for them. Establish the salat for them. And let a faction of them stand with you. So they will stand. Salat encompasses also standing. It includes standing. That is why Quran chapter 62, verse 9 to verse 10 to verse 11, when these people see their entertainment and business, they left the prophet standing. Salat includes standing, right? Okay. So, and let a faction of them stand with you, and let them take their weapons. And when they have what? Prostrated, right? They have prostrated, or they have shown their submission, as in contrast with chapter 19, verse 58, then let them be behind you. Now listen, let them be behind you. And let the other faction who have not yusallu, who have not actually prayed, then they will do what? Let them come and let them pray with you. Now, the first group who will stand with the prophet, right? When they stand with the prophet, and let them take their weapons. The ones who will stand with the prophet, they should take their weapons with them. And when they have shown their submission, or when they have prostrated, then let them be behind you. Now, let them be behind you here. God mentioned it in plural form, min waraikum. So this group standing with him, he led the other group who are not joining them to stand with their weapons behind them to guide them, right? Okay. So now he says, and let the other faction who have not prayed, because in essence, what they are doing there at that time is a prayer, right? So who have not prayed, then let them come and then what? And then let them pray with you. And this you is Ma'aka. It's talking to the prophet alone, because the prophet is supposed to establish the salat for them. It doesn't mean he's not part of the salat, but he is doing it for them. Do you understand? I'm giving you an example. Let's say I'm cooking for my kids. I'm cooking food for them, but sometimes I eat from the same food. Or many times, most of the cases, I eat from the same food, but I'm cooking for them, because the main priority is to get them to eat. Doesn't mean I'm excluded. And that is why I am put to do it for them. Because it could be God could have told the prophet that after you finish with the other group, you guys are finished, let other group come and do theirs. He would have said it like that. But then he asked the prophet to do it for them because he is the leader for them, right? Okay. And then he says, and let them take their precaution and their weapons. And those who disbelieve wish you will neglect your weapons. That is, during the salat, they wish that these believers, that believers will leave their weapons whilst doing the salat, during the salat. So the subject of the verse itself, it says, and when you are among them, then establish what? The salat for who? For them. So the subject of discussion in the verse itself is about salat. Whilst in the discussion of salat, God is telling the believers what they have to do during the Salat in terms of fear. So you start from the context, verse 101. In verse 101, God says, and whenever you travel through the land, there is no blame on you in case you shorten from the Salat. So meaning, shortening here doesn't necessarily mean there is 3 raka'at, 4 raka'at, 5 raka'at, which means the Quran is not complete. Remember, Quran chapter 6, verse 115, God says, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. God says the word of your Lord is complete in truth and justice, and there is no alteration to his words, right? So the word of God is already complete. We find in the Quran, we don't see a word called raka'at. It's not there. So assuming if there was any raka'at, then it is 2 or 3 or 4, then God will say, okay, since I gave you 4 raka'at, kindly do 2 raka'at when it's time for the salat, in terms of fear. But what God says is you shorten from the salat. So meaning if the salat, it will take me 10 minutes to do, I can shorten from it. Do you understand me? If the salat, it will take me to the extent to stand in the salat for a long time and to do the sujud for a long time, I can shorten from it. Do you get the point? Aha. So now, to fulfill the context, we go down talking about the disbelievers who can disturb these believers at the believers at that time during their salat as well. So God is showing a precaution where believers can take to prevent, to guard themselves. Meaning when it's time for the salat, whilst you are in fear, not all of you have to go to do the salat. You divide the group. Whilst the imam is giving the other group the salat, the other group will be guiding. So whilst they are guarding, if they finish their salat, this first group, this other group can now join, whilst the other group can come back and protect. So this other group will go with the same imam and do their part of their salat. This is the wisdom behind the verse. There's nothing like, oh, there's 2 rakats or 4 rakats, so God asked the prophet to shorten it to 2 rakats. No. Okay. So now let's fulfill the verse. And when you are among them, you the prophet, you are among them, then establish the salat for them, and let a faction of them stand with you. Then he says, and let them take their weapons. And let them take their weapons. And when they have what? Shown their submission by prostration, then let them be behind you. Right? Then he says, and let the other faction who have not Salah, Yusallu, they should come and do what? Then they should come and let them pray with you, Muhammad, and let them take what? Their precaution and their weapons. And those who disbelieve wish you would neglect your weapons. Then they will do what? And your belongings, so they could attack you. Because during the salat, the other group are protecting the other group who are doing the salat. So the disbelievers who are watching, they wish all these all the believers will leave their weapons and everything so that they can come and attack them during the salat as well. Do you understand? Now, and then he says here, with a single teeth, meaning from a high hill, they will just come and attack you. Now here it says, and there is no blame on you if you are troubled by rain or you are what? Sick, in case you put down your weapons. But take your precaution. Indeed, God has prepared for the disbelievers a humiliating punishment. Then the context continued to 103. Now look at the context of 103. And when you have concluded the salat, do you see the context? When you start from 101, the context is still talking about salat. The main subject is salat. 102, the main subject is salat, and then the disbelievers trying to attack you. Then 103 is now telling you about the conclusion of that same salat you started. So now it says, and when you have concluded. Now remember the word here, when it says qadaytum, qadaytum. This qadaytu is the same type of word used in Quran chapter 62 verse 9 to verse 10 to verse 11, Surah Al-Jum'ah, where God says, وَإِذَا قُضِيَتُ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Right? Chapter 62, verse 10. Now, so chapter 4, verse 103, it says, and when you have concluded the Salat, then remember God standing, sitting, and on your sides. Then he says, but when you are calm, then establish the Salat. Indeed, the Salat is upon the believers at decreed times. Kitab al-Mawquda. So the verses I just read, based on the question I was asked, the person says, if there are no raka'at in Salat, how come the Salat was reduced by the Prophet in 4:102, chapter 4, verse 102? God did not ask him to reduce the Salat. You have to just shorten from the Salat. Shortening from the Salat is different from saying shorten the Salat. Shorten the Salat meaning you're trying to say there are 2 raka'at, 4 raka'at, so then the Prophet has to do 2 instead of, let's say, 4. No. Shorten from it means if I have to do standing, bowing down, and prostrating, I can shorten something from it. That is enough. So if I have to do the act of standing for 10 minutes, I can shorten from the Salat and make it like 5 minutes. That is just the action there. But there's nothing to give you the sign where it says, oh, it is 4 raka'at, but God says in that verse, that's why the Prophet do 2 raka'at. No, it's not a valid point. Okay. Remember, Quran chapter 2, verse 238. If you read up to 239, I put the verse on the screen, then you can see if it has to do with shortening that instance. This is what God will have told us to do. I'm going to show you the verse. Quran chapter 2, verse 238 to 239, right? Yeah, I'll come to your question later, right? Yeah, I'll come to the questions being asked. I'll come back to this. So Quran chapter 2, verse 238, it says, observe the salats, that is the litanies, together with the middle salat. Then it says, and stand obediently before God. Waqumu lillahi qanitin. Just like I told you, the salat has to do with standing as well, right? Okay. Now, chapter 2, verse 239 says, and if you fear, then by walking or by riding. So if you fear whilst doing the salat, you can do the salat whilst walking and you can do it by riding. So in this sense, how are you going to do the rakat whilst you're walking and you are riding? If they are the notion of rakat, as the scholars keep telling you, how are you going to do it whilst you are walking or riding? Tell me. Because there's no such thing as rakat as part of the salat. Nothing like that. You understand? So now God says, if you fear, remember he says you should stand obediently before God. But now you are in fear and you are walking. Can you stand? No, you're walking. Now you are in fear. Let's say you are in the aeroplane or you are in the bus or you are sitting in the car, but it's time for Salat and you are on the long journey. You are on the express highway. How do you do? Are you going to, what are you going to do? Sure, you're still driving. Do you get my point? So in this sense, God says, and when you are safe, then what? Commemorate God or remember God as he has taught you that which you did not know. So these verses I just read, these 2 verses, it gives you the notion that there is no notion of raka'at, 2 raka'at, 3 raka'at, 4 in the Quran. No, it doesn't exist. It is just an interpolation. People try to bring in the words of God by saying, oh, if you follow the Quran alone, then how are you going to know how many raka'at they say we should do? According to your own hadith books, you said when the Prophet went to the sky to bring you 5 prayers, he didn't bring the raka'at. It was later on the raka'at was 2 and later 2, 2, 2, 2, and later on it moved to 4, 3, 4 as a formation. I don't know how it became like that, but it's like magic all of a sudden. Hello? That is the second question. Done with that. We go to the third question. Somebody says chapter 70 verse 40. Who is swearing in that verse? Chapter 70 verse 40. Who is swearing in that verse? So in chapter 70 verse 40, somebody says Man United formation, huh? Okay. Chapter 70 verse 40, it says, so I swear by the Lord of the eastern areas and the western areas that we are able. So underline the word we, inna. The word we here, inna. Who is that? Is it God talking? But who is talking in this verse? Quran chapter 70 verse 40. Okay. If you start from the context, let's say you start from chapter 70 verse 38, right? It says, does every person or does every man, we can say a human being like imri'in, it's a person, right? So does every person among them hope to enter a garden of bliss? So every person wants to enter the garden, right? Okay. Verse 39, nay, indeed, we created them from what they know. Yes, we know what God created us from, right? Clay, right? Okay. Verse 40, so I swear by the Lord of the eastern areas and the what? Western areas, that we are able. And who is swearing? We are going to find out. To replace with better than them, and we, nahanu, cannot be outdone. Right? So now the question is, who is swearing in chapter 70, verse 40? You want to find out? Okay. The Quran was revealed to a messenger by God. And the messenger has to reveal it to another messenger, which is a human messenger. The first messenger is not a human being. The second messenger is a human being. So the Quran comes from God and it passes through the hands of a mediator before coming to the human messenger. So this mediator, he has his soldiers with him. He has his squad. He has his military with him. And that is the Ruhul Qudus. This Ruhul Qudus, his soldiers are the angels. And he has to deliver this Quran. So that is why God calls the Quran Qawlan Rasul al-Kareem. The Quran is a Qawlan Rasul al-Kareem. Quran chapter 81 verse 19. Right? It says, indeed, it is the word of an honorable messenger. Innahu laqawlun rasulin kareem. You want to understand who this Rasul is? Then you continue. Verse 20. It says, possessor of strength in front of the possessor of the firmly fixed throne. Verse 21. Obeyed, furthermore trustworthy. You understand? So this Rasul, he now brought it to the human Rasul. So this is where it says, verse 22, and your friend Muhammad is not a madman. He's telling this people, his people, that your friend is not a madman. For he suddenly saw him. He saw who? This other messenger who brought it to the human messenger. He, Muhammad, saw him in the clear horizon. Right? And then verse 24, and he, Muhammad, is not concealing the unseen. It is an unseen thing. He has seen it, but he's not concealing it. He's revealing it. Right? Then it goes, verse 25, nor is he with the word of the accursed devil. As some Christians or some oppositions will say the Quran is the book of the devil. It is coming from the devil. So how can Allah claim we should seek refuge against the devil, and then you are still telling us the same book comes from the devil? So some people will say Allah is a devil. That's what they say, right? Out of enmity. Okay. So now it goes. We've seen the evidence that the Quran is a Qawlu Rasul al-Kareem. So now, who was swearing in Quran chapter 70, verse 40? The word nahnu was used when I read the context. So now I'm going to give you the answer. If you want to know, try to read Surah Al-Safat, and you know the role of the angels and what the angels do for us. Quran chapter 37, verse 164. It says, and there is not one of us. If you read the whole chapter, you understand who is that, right? And there is not one of us except he has a fixed position, meaning the angels. Verse 165. For indeed, we, you see the word nahanu, we are the what? Swafun. That's why the chapter is called Swafat. They are the arrangers. Angels are the ones God put in place. That's why they are called the gatekeepers. Angels are the gatekeepers. They are the ones to guard hell. They are the ones to guard paradise. They are the ones guiding you, the human being. They are the ones to take your soul. They are the ones who do everything God has put them to do. So understand the role of the keepers. I did one of my lectures. I already showed this, right? So the message of the Quran was given to these same angels to come and deliver it to this human messenger. If you want to understand angels are also messengers of God, read Quran chapter 22, verse 75. God chooses messengers among the angels and the human being and the people, right? So when you hear this kind of saying, we are able, our Lord, the Lord of the East and the West, this kind of statements you are hearing, or if you hear the statement saying kul hu Allahu ahad, say he the God is one, this is the angel instructing Muhammad alayhi salam to say it as he also being commanded to tell Muhammad alayhi salam, right? Okay, so 165, for indeed we the angels are the what? Arrangers. 166, and indeed we are those who what? Glorify. So the nahnu you find in the Quran, it is the angels who have that position by speaking in that form. You understand? So when you see the Lord of the East and the West, yes, God is the Lord of the East and the West. Whether he says two East and two West, just as it says Surah Rahman, the two East and the two West, human beings, you have your East and the West. And the jinns, they also have their East and West. You want to understand the two East and the two West is referring to human beings and the jinns, go to Quran chapter 55, read the chapter at to end. You understand God mentions everything in two instances for the jinns and for the human beings. So Lord of the two East and the two West, or it says Lord of the eastern areas and the western areas. Yes, it is made up of East and West. We human beings, we formulated the notion of the North and South, right? But it's made of East and West. I give you the example. For those who say the earth is flat, if you divide flat into two, you have East and West. For those who say the earth is round, divide it into two, you still have East and West. Now, the reason why God is saying eastern areas and western areas, we don't only have one planet. There are a lot of planets in the sky, right? Where there's a lot of planets, right? We call them in Arabic, we say kawakib, that is planets. This kawakib is made up of East and West as well, right? So when God is using only East and West, some people will say, doesn't God know North and South? We created that notion. Just like today, we are calling our adopted children as our own children. They are not your biological children, but we are calling them, that is my child, but it's adopted child. You understand? So some notions of understanding, we human beings invented such concept. It is not God who invented such. God says he is the Lord of the East and West. It doesn't mean the North is not part of the East. That's why we have Northeast, North South, Southeast, or Southwest, and so on, right? We created the notion of the North and the Southern part, but yes, it's made up of East and West. Okay, so that question based on Quran chapter 70, verse 40, is talking about the angel who is making reference to the Lord of the eastern areas and western areas. So that is the logic there, right? Okay. Then again, we go to the notion of people saying that somebody asked, if that is the case, does it mean there are aliens? Do aliens exist? Somebody asked me, do aliens actually exist? That's the question I was asked. Do aliens actually exist? Now, when you say aliens, what do you mean by aliens? So let's understand this notion. I'm going to put this here, first meaning, second meaning, and then third meaning. Okay. So many a time you hear people using the word alien, who is an alien, or are they aliens? Or some people will say reptilian, or they will say something. And then many a times you watch the news, people will say, hey, I saw a weird creature. I saw a creature, a weird creature. It's not a human being. I saw something. No, it's unimaginable. I saw something on his legs or this. Do aliens actually exist? Let's check from the Quran. Is there any notion of a creature which is there that we don't know about? Let's find out. Okay. So now when we say alien, let me put it on the screen. Alien, a person who comes from a foreign country, someone who does not owe allegiance to your country, can be classified as alien. That's why some people have alien passports, right? Because they don't know their whereabouts. So they just appear from your country and then they seek asylum and they become aliens, right? So that is one meaning, but it has to do with a person. Then he says, anyone who does not belong in the environment in which they are found. So let's say I'm in my house and then I just saw, all of a sudden, I just saw a rat in my house. That's an alien. He doesn't belong there. It's my house. I pay the rent. The rat there is not there paying the rent. So that's an alien. Yes. That rat has to be evicted. So another alien. So it says anyone who does not belong in the environment in which they are found. You go to the lion's den and full of lions, and you are the only human being, you are an alien to them. They have to deal with you. So same goes with us. God says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So God talks about the human beings and the jinn. Remember, the human beings and the jinn, we have been given the earth to occupy. So jinns are not aliens. So if you want to meet a jinn and you think the jinn is an alien, you are fooling yourself, right? So the jinns are not aliens. They've been given the earth to inhabit as well as us. So we are together with them here. Jinns are not aliens. But do aliens actually exist? And I'm going to help you out. We're going to see it, right? Do they actually exist? Let's ask God, and then we find the answer easily. The third meaning of alien, a form of life assumed to exist outside the earth or its atmosphere. Now, so this is what we are going to highlight. This one, a form of life assumed to exist outside the earth or its atmosphere. This is the alien we are here to see. Do they actually exist? Who is going to give you the answer? Of course, God. Look, scientists will only assume and keep guessing. Just like they assume and keep guessing about things. They will tell you that the earth is about 3 billion years old. If you use the word about, you don't know it. You're guessing. You're assuming. If you ask me 1 + 1 and I say, I think the answer is about 3 or is it about 2, still the answer is wrong because you are not sure. You understand? But now we want to be sure. Do aliens actually exist? And who can give us the best answer? God. So now let's see the answer. Let's go to the Quran. So I take you to Quran, and then we go to chapter 16, verse 49. Quran chapter 16, verse 49, God says what? And to God makes obeisance whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on earth of what? Creatures. And the what? Angels. So now the interesting part. And they are not arrogant. Let's check the verse again. Let's go to the Arabic language. It says, وَلِلَّهِ يَسْجُدُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ دَابَةٍ. Right? Then it says, وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ. So this وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ, that is the keepers, the gatekeepers, the keepers. وَهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And they are not arrogant. So now, and to God makes obeisance, they show their submission, whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on earth of what? Of creatures and the keepers, that is the angels. Then he says what? And they are not arrogant. So which means these creatures and angels, yes, some of them are here, while some of them are also where? Are also in the heavens. Do you understand the point? We have the creatures, some of them here on earth, and some of them, yes, in the heavens. Do you understand? So the verse gives you the clue when we say creatures, a creature, right? Okay, the next verse is in Quran chapter 42, verse 29. In Quran chapter 42, verse 29, let's see. And among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and whatever he transmits through them both. Of what? Creatures. And I will show you creatures, how God creates creatures, and how some of them have 2 legs, 4 legs, and so on. So we are going to see. And among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and what he transmits through them both, these heavens and the earth, he transmits them both. Then what? Of what? Creatures. That is dabatin. And he is capable of gathering them when he wills. So now, which type of creatures is God talking about? Right? Which type of creatures? Now we go to Quran chapter 24, verse 45. And God created every creature from what? Water. And of them is one who walks on its belly. And of them is one who walks on 2 legs. And of them is one who walks on 4 legs. God creates whatever he wills. Indeed, God is capable of what? All things. Now, let's go back to, do aliens actually exist? Based on the question, the 3 verses I just quoted, God is confirming to you that they are creatures in the heavens and the earth. We all know they are on the earth, they are creatures, right? We know there's a reptile, we know reptiles, we know there's crocodile, there's snake, there's some walking on their stomach, some have 4 legs, some have 2 legs, we know, right? The creatures. But then God is saying in the heavens, he spread them in the heavens also. So which means they are creatures in the heavens. Do you understand? They are creatures, not only on earth, they are in the heavens as well. I'm not saying it. God is saying it. I gave you the evidences. Do you understand? So yes, they are aliens. And when you say alien, I gave you the definition. The alien we are talking about in the context of being in the what? A form of life assumed to exist outside the earth or its atmosphere. That alien, yes, that creature exists. Do you understand? So just like the angels came in the human form to the people of Lut alayhi salam, those are classified as aliens as well. Because they are not human beings. They only came in human form. So yes, aliens do exist. That is according to the Quran. Who is this foolish person calling here? I'm teaching wise people here and you are calling to fool people here. Abdul Rahim, what is wrong with you? Let me call this foolish person back. He's not picking up. Now, this is how the devils are. When you're actually trying to teach people, you're actually trying to teach people, they come at the time you are focused teaching people, they want to disturb. Now, when you actually now ready to pick them up, they will not pick up. This is one problem with mushriks that I hate. When you are prepared for them to come, they will not pick your call. They will not come. When you are actually teaching people logic and wisdom, that is when they want to interrupt, because psychologically they are brain damaged. So when they hate people who use logic and people who use, their IQ at the highest level, they hate it. I'm going to set him up. Watch this. Yes. Wa alaikum salam. Your name and where you're calling from.
So when you call and the person doesn't pick, so you go back and say that, okay, let's drop that one. My name is Rahim from Ghana.
How may I help you, Rahim?
I have two questions I want to ask you. My question is, can I go on?
Yeah, speak.
Yeah. First of all, I hope you are good. This is a very peaceful discussion, and my question is,
after calling me a clown,
you've been calling people by names, so don't worry about names.
Oh, we can go on that. Wait, we can go on that. Yeah. Which people did I call by names?
Just let me go on with my question first.
No, it's my platform. No, my audience are listening to you, so you have to clarify an accusation. I cannot let you go. Okay, what names did I call people?
Can I go on with my question?
You will go. Clarify your accusation first. That is the logic there.
You call people mushrik based on your own explanations.
Who did I call mushrik? Who did I call mushrik?
Wait. You call people idiots. Please, are you trying to move away from my questions or what?
I'm not. I think it would be better. Calm down. Calm down. Don't be rude.
No, you are dropping.
And I said, calm down.
My brother, I'm already down.
Don't stop talking over me. I'm hosting a program. I have a lot of people watching me. When you come and make an accusation, you have to Wait.
watching.
Hello,
Okay.
wait. If you make an accusation, you have to clarify your accusation. So you have made an accusation, and I'm trying to let you clarify. You are trying to evade that and bring a question.
You wait a minute. I can play this game. Don't worry. You call people idiots. Fools.
Where did I call somebody idiot?
Wait, I will take a picture and send. Some people comment on your videos. You call them fools.
Brother, I ask you a simple question. You just accuse me of now calling somebody idiot. Wait.
But my brother, you've called me a fool several times. I can take pictures of them and then send it.
That you show it. No, wait. You show it. But first of all, before I call somebody a fool, what did the person do before I call him a fool?
Okay, for example, like me, I never did you anything, but you called me a fool. Why wouldn't you let us stop on that? Then we concentrate on your question.
This is me. You are on my platform. I can just drop you and move on with my topic. If you make an accusation, this is me. I will let you clarify. Brother, if you say I called you a fool, right, without you doing anything, God is a witness. May God punish the liars.
I just commented on your video.
By saying what? No. By saying what? Wait. Brother, please.
A funny picture and said, "This is the fool I've been talking about." Frankly, I saw it like, oh, it's part of this social media stuff. But I think let's consider.
Anyways.
I have a job.
Anyways. Wait. Anyways, you called to interrupt my program. I give you 5 minutes. Make your claim.
Okay. No, I'm not making a claim. I'm asking you a question. Please, do you you don't believe in hadith? Fine. I've been watching your programs, and my question is, can you read Surah Al-Fatiha for me?
Which hadith are you talking about?
Oh, hadith that you'll be calling sunnah, aside the Quran.
Where can we find that?
Wait, I said you don't believe in it.
Which hadith?
You don't believe in it. I just want to clarify some things.
And I said, which hadith?
Hadith of the Sahaba, the hadith of the Prophet, aside the Quran. You don't believe any book aside the Quran.
You said hadith. Wait. If you make a claim, I have to let you clarify the claim before you move on. I don't take side questions when they are not making sense. I said I don't believe in hadith.
Probably it doesn't make sense to you, but they make sense.
Brother.
Do you don't believe in hadith?
I
believe in hadith.
Which hadith?
I think we shouldn't waste time in this.
And I ask you, which hadith?
When you talk of hadith, we all know about what I'm talking about. Hadith means the sayings of the Prophet that we have in books like Buhari and stuff. That is what my statement is.
Who gave us? But who gave us that hadith? Who gave us those hadith?
That is not my question.
Oh no, I want to know before you.
Who did it?
But
wait.
Why doesn't it matter?
If you don't believe in something, it doesn't matter who gave it. That one I will need to clarify it. My question is not there.
So if somebody wait. Brother.
Baba, you are trying to be smart.
Oh my God! So I should be a fool. I shouldn't be smart. I should be a fool, right?
No. Being smart means you are trying to dodge from the questions I want.
I'm not dodging. Look,
I want you to clarify something.
First of all,
probably I want to join you.
But wait. I don't need you.
You don't need me.
No.
Are you preaching?
I'm not a preacher. I'm not a preacher. Abdul Rahim, I'm not a preacher.
You are a doctor. You are a knowledge person in the Quran.
Where did I say that?
You've been saying stop these sideways questions, please. Okay, let's take it for the benefit of doubt. Let's say all what I've been saying is wrong. Can you please read Surah Al-Fatiha for me?
For which benefit?
read it in Arabic, please. You will know.
Now, so that it does what? Wait, Abdurrahim. So that it does what for you?
I need to ask you a question in it. Probably you can clarify me. I think this is something that is not a difficult thing. Just, I'm not going to talk about how you read the Arabic. No,
Abdurrahim. No, Abdurrahim. Is that no? Wait. Is that the question you are here to ask me?
Yes. No, but there is a follow-up question.
Then be specific. No, be specific with your question. I don't take childhood questions. If you come to somebody,
so to read Surah Al-Fatiha is a childhood question.
Okay, read it first. I'll read it after you. Just read it first for me.
I first asked you, read Surah Al-Fatiha for me.
You see?
Simple.
Something you wait. Something you wouldn't allow to do yourself. Why do you want me to do it?
Please, wait. You are a scholar, and I'm asking you something. I want you to read it.
No, does it make sense to you if you know I'm a scholar and you are telling me to read Fatiha? Does it make sense to you?
My brother, I want you to teach me something. I want you to read Surah Al-Fatiha. There is a question I want to ask. Probably you can solve all my problem for me tonight.
Okay, let's make it easy. Let's make it easy. Brother, read Fatiha and then ask me your question.
No, I want you to read it.
So I want to know first. If you cannot read, I'll read it for you. Can you read it?
I will open it well for you. I will read it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Please, can you read it for me?
I can read it.
You read it, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. What do you need?
Thank you. Please, can I read it again? There is something.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Please.
I'm hosting you. Wait a minute. Don't tell me to wait. 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 I said wait.
Okay.
I hope you are not on a power bank. So if I say wait, listen to the host. Because it only takes me one button. Listen. It only takes me one button to silence you. If I say wait, listen to me first, then you move on with your discussion. It's a program I'm doing. If you are not specific with your question, you come to my program, you go all over the place, going here, going there. I'm not here because of you, Abdurrahim. Understand that in the first place. I'm here because I don't care what you want. Wait, I don't care what you have to say. If you want, I can reschedule a program tomorrow. I can bring you alone. We can do back and forth if you want. Do you want it that way?
Because you
No, I said, do you want it that way?
No, I want it now.
Okay, so if you want it now, I have a program I'm doing. First of all, you didn't pay attention to the program I'm doing. Listen to me. Listen.
Give me 10 seconds, please. Just 10 seconds. I want to ask you something, please.
Before you ask me a question, let me set a rule for you. Before you ask me a question.
Okay. I can go by your rules.
Okay. You are a Sunni, right?
I'm listening.
Are you a Sunni?
Set your rules.
Yes, I'm setting the rule. Are you a Sunni?
Are you a Sunni one of the rule?
Yes, it's on the rule. It's part of the rule. I want to know, then I set the rule. If you show me where you stand, then I set you the rule. Are you a Sunni?
Yeah, I'm a Sunni. I'm a proud one, Sunni.
No problem. Keep being proud. Now, you are a Sunni. You come to a platform of somebody who is not a Sunni, who is actually a Muslim. I'm a submitter to God alone. I'm not part of.
We are all Muslims.
No, I'm not classifying you with me. I don't know you.
Are you trying
but
to
let me talk
from the question I want to ask or what?
But I'm setting a rule.
Please. You've been wasting time, and you again tell me that I'm the one wasting time.
So you are telling me I'm wasting time on my own program. I'm wasting
10 seconds to ask you something. Just give me 10 seconds.
Ask me the question.
Just to ask you this.
After this question, you are done.
Okay, now you read your Surah Al-Fatiha. I have a question in it. Now I will read it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. You read your Quran saying Maliki Yawmiddin. I read mine Maliki Yawmiddin. What is the difference?
You are reading from Warsh.
Warsh. What is called Warsh?
That's a stupid question.
What is the difference? Wait, Malik means the ruler, and then Malik means the king. The owner, and then the king. Malik is the owner.
Brother, Malik doesn't. Brother, let me correct you. I'm not waiting. Let me correct you. You made a mistake. Malik doesn't mean ruler.
It means what?
It means possessor, somebody who owns something, owner or possessor. It doesn't mean ruler.
I said the owner.
You never. Oh, don't lie, brother. You say ruler, please. I'm helping you.
Fine. The owner. Okay. Why the two differences?
Brother?
Why did you read it Malik and I read it Malik?
It's just.
Now you are telling me one. Where from the word warish?
Oh, I'm just helping you. Let me. You said 10 seconds. You are using 1 minute to ask me a 10-second question. Are you serious?
Okay, then answer it, please.
There is a difference. There is water. Oh, are you on a power bank? Hello? Are you on a power bank?
I'm listening.
Listen. We have Warsh version and there's Hafs version.
Where from those versions?
Oh, please.
How did we get versions?
Hello?
So do you mean you have two different Quran
Abdurrahim, are you on a power bank?
Yeah, I'm listening. Babashuaib, I'm listening, my brother.
Oh my God.
We are all brothers, don't worry.
No, we are not brothers. You are not my brother. No, I don't know you.
I don't care whether you are. I see you as a human being, and then you can be my brother. So
I'm not your brother. Don't take offense. I'm not your brother. I don't know you. If I don't know somebody, I don't call them brothers. That's the simple logic I'm speaking to you. I don't know you. So I'm okay. The point is, you ask me a question. Look, if you are a questioner, I'll just let you ask me a question, then I drop you. The reason why I keep talking to you, because always you keep writing on my page, oh, he's running away. You are running away from me. You are running away from me. I'm not even running away from your scholars. Why will I run away from you, a student?
You don't know me, so you don't worry.
I don't know you. How?
You just continue. Answer. My question now is simple. You read the Quran.
No, I just answered you. I told you there is Warsh version, there is House version. Then you followed up with another question. Listen.
Wait a minute. How did we get two different Quran? So are you saying?
Ladies and gentlemen.
On what grounds? Wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many questions is he asking me right now?
Wait. Try, please. Can you prove Warsh from only with the Quran? So can you give me a verse that says that there is Warsh and then there is Hafs?
Abdurrahim.
The Quranic verse.
Abdurrahim.
Wait, please.
Yeah, Abdurrahim, how many questions did you ask me right now?
It is just one. Prove to me why we have one Malik and we have one Malik.
Abdurrahim.
To me.
I can educate you and your scholars on this subject. I said, if you want to prolong the question, wait. Oh, listen. But listen. You want me? Oh, wait. You want me to now educate you?
Yes.
Okay, then come
I'm
tomorrow.
listening.
If you want me to educate you, come tomorrow.
Okay, then answer my question. Tomorrow you educate me.
I have already answered your question. You just the second one you just recited was Warsh version, right? Listen to me. Don't interrupt.
Okay.
Don't interrupt.
Okay,
don't interrupt.
Okay,
Listen.
I'm listening.
You asked me
listening.
first question to read something to you, and I read it, or I recited it to you,
Okay.
Fatiha. After that, you recited another Fatiha, and you say, what is the difference? And I showed you what you recited is Warsh. Did you say I'm wrong?
On what basis?
Listen to my question. Listen to my question. You are not listening. I said when you recited the Warsh version and I told you it's Warsh, did you say I'm wrong? Did you tell me I'm wrong?
What is Warsh in the Quran?
Abdurrahim, have you been to classroom before? Listen to my question. Abdurrahim, please calm down. Listen to my question. When you
I didn't ask you. You've not answered my question. My question.
But Abdurrahim is listening a program for you. I'm not waiting. Look, you haven't answered my question. For God's sake.
I'm the one asking you the question. So what question are you asking me again?
You see, now, you are not even listening. Abdurrahim.
I want you to.
Abdurrahim.
I told you.
Stop.
Why is one Malik?
Stop getting excited.
Why is one Malik? Now that we have a recitation called Warish, and then we have a recitation called Hafs, proof from the Quran. I need only Quranic version. A Quranic verse that says that you can read the Quran Malik, and another one that says that you can read it Malik. I need one. I need a Quranic verse. You believe in only Quran. Give me a Quranic verse. When you.
Oh my God. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, you see what we call, when we say logic and reasoning, sectarians don't have common sense when it comes to even listening to a simple dialogue, a discussion. They don't know how to discern and pay attention. Like they are all over the place. So when you're trying to have a logical discussion with a sectarian, it's always it's just like dealing with a kid who doesn't understand your language. You know, when you are dealing with children and they don't understand your language, you know how difficult it is. It's just like you'll be repeating yourself. Like the power bank, the guy, I think he's using a power bank to charge himself. Like he's so messed up. You understand? They don't listen. I was just asking a simple question. Somebody said, you say you are going to ask me one question only. You asked the first question, right? You say I should read, and I told you read first. You read, and I read it. You didn't say I'm wrong. Then you recited another verse. Then you asked me, what is the difference between the verse you just recited with the previous one? And I told you the second one is Warsh version. The first one is Hafs. You didn't say I'm wrong. So now I'm asking you a question by telling you, when you recited and I say Warsh version, did you say I'm wrong? Simply just tell me no, then we move on. You are not even listening to my question. You are still telling me you have to ask me a question. So that will be a third question we are moving to. So logically, we have spent 17 minutes by going back and forth. I'm trying to help you so that the audience will make sense from the discourse. You are not trying to cooperate. How can I have a discussion with somebody I'm better than in terms of logic and IQ? It doesn't make sense. So according to the Quran, such a person addresses me, I have to tell you salam, then I move on. So me cutting you off, Abdurrahim, I'm not scared of you. I need your scholars. You are too little for me. That's why you came. You said I should educate you, right? So if you came to me to educate you, then listen. Don't go all over the place. Simple. Oh my God. Oh. You see, this is the problem with mushriks. And when I say mushriks, because they are messed up with the hadith books, they claim they are following the Quran. They don't follow the Quran. They will be asking you stupid questions outside the Quran, and they think they are making sense whilst being loud. So when you cannot keep up with their loudness, they think you are afraid. You know, he's scared I'll be asking him questions. So he is trying to avoid me to talk by he throwing questions. Do you see what they do? So he want to stop me and say, oh, you are wasting time. Let me ask you. Oh, I'm here to learn from you. Oh, you are here to learn. Is that how you learn from a teacher, Abdurrahim? You came on, I gave you 17 minutes of my time. There's a reason why I made you stay. First of all, you didn't make sense when you started speaking. When it comes to eloquence in speech, you don't have it. Because the audience listening to you, they are scared. Oh my God. If you want, when I finish this program, call me later. I will arrange a program. I will bring you face to face, right? Then we do a program because you are the nuisance to me, like you are a knapsack. I can't deal with your ignorance. You are an amateur to deal with, right? So it will be a waste of time dealing with a person of your caliber, right? So let's deal with the last question before I go. I've done 2 hours. Thanks to this mushrik, it took me to 2 hours by force. I will have finished with the last question anyways. But the last question is Quran chapter 6 verse 19. Why does it say God is greater in testimony? It's why it says Kul ayyu shay'in akbar shahada, right? So God is greater in testimony. So chapter 6 verse 19, why does it say God is greater in testimony? Yes, I like this comment this brother just wrote. He says, the strategy they use on other religious bodies. He sees you as one deviated, hence uncomfortable to listen to you. They have been fed by their senior mushriks who have hijacked their logic in reasoning. That is actually a fact, right? Abalogu says, I actually understand the guy. My understanding is that you are exposing and educating people with wisdom, which is bad market for them. Yes, they are exploiting people with Arabic melodies. Now that we are aware of the true message, is bad market for them. That is evidence, right? So, right, he says, Sister Alba says, Marwan Divaj, will it help on the headache that the dude just gave by scream? Yeah, he came screaming, right? Now look at what he wrote. He wrote this. He says, you are just an idiot with your idiotic friends. You see? So by their feathers, you know them. By their fruit, you know them. And this is the person. Now, guys, he cuts me because he knows where I'm going. You see? So when I said, if he wants to have a dialogue, let me arrange tomorrow he comes. He said no. And then he says he's here to just ask me a question. Because if I have to bring you face to face as a dialogue, I'll crush you. But crushing you will not benefit me because you are a nobody in your sect. Because you are not even an al-majiri. Because in your sect, nobody knows you, right? So me wasting my time to crush you would do me no good. Giving you a platform is an honor, right? You have the honor. Thinking babashuaib gave you the chance to interact. But of course, in the correctional officers, then I give mushriks like you chance to interact with me. So it's not a big deal. But the point is, intellectually, you are mentally decapitated. I can't have a conversation with you. like you are mentally kaput. So in order to have a highest level of intelligent discussion with you, I'll need your supervisor. So bring me your supervisor. That will be better. If I do with an amateur, it's like I'm disturbing myself. So so sorry about that, Abdurrahim. Like your nuisance is too much for me as a cup of tea to to drink. I can't handle. So mentally kaput. That's too much. You are draining my battery with your power bank. Oh my God, the guy is not even listening. Oh. So chapter 6, verse 19, that is Surah Al-An'am. We go to verse 19. That is where it talks about shahadat. Oh, sorry. Why is this? Okay, 6:19. Let me jump. Yeah, I can share the screen. Let me answer this last question, then we move on to so Quran 6:19. It says, "Say what at all is greater in testimony." In Arabic, it will say, "Kul ayyu shay'in akbaru shahadat." Then it says, "Kulillah shahidu bayni wa baynakum wa uhiya ilayya hadha al-Quran." Then it says, "What li'unzirakum bihi wa man balag." Then it says, "A'innakum latashhaduna anna ma'allahi ahalihatan ukhra. Kul la ashhadu." Then it says, "Kul innama huwa ilahun wahid wa innani bari'un mimma tushrikun." So he says, "Say you the messenger, what at all is greater in testimony?" Then it says, "Say God is a witness between me and you that this Quran has been inspired to me in order to warn you by it." Then it says, "And whoever it may reach. Have you indeed been testifying that there are other gods with the God? Say, I do not testify. Say, he is only one God. And indeed, I am free from what you associate," meaning you idolize with God, right? You're free from that. So now, the essence of the verse is some people are saying, since people say, oh, one of my lectures, I say you cannot call God Allahu Akbar because Allah is Wahid. Kul huwa Allahu Ahad. He is one. It is not befitting for you to call Allah Akbar because that means there are other gods with him. He already told you, La ilaha illallah. He is only one. So he's befitting for you to call him Al-Kabir, right? Al-Kabir. There is no only any superlative form there. But some people will say, how come in this verse it says, Kul ayyu shay'in akbaru shahadati? This comparison is only based on shahada. It is when it comes to the notion of shahada, God is akbar. Because there are other witnesses. People are bearing witness to some things, right? The things you witness with your eyes, you are also bearing witness to something. So in terms of witnesses, God is greater in witness. So this is a superlative form in terms of comparison when it comes to witnessing. So kul ayyu shay'in akbaru shahadati. So when it comes to shahada, God is greater. But it doesn't talk in the essence of his godly aspect where you will say Allahu Akbar. There is no notion of such in the Quran. You'll be a mushrik to be using such instance. I've already given the instances in other lectures. Now, somebody will say, is that not a comparison by saying God is greater in witnesses? Witnessing, genes can witness, animals can witness. We are also witnessing as human beings. We can see things with our eyes and we witness. Somebody will say, how do animals witness? Look, for instance, if you go to the let's say you go to a poultry a farm, and then you see an animal who has his kids, the children, and then you try to steal one of them. The parents can witness you stealing or trying to harm the kids, so they can attack you for that, and that is witnessing. They witness that. So seeing something is an act of witness also. So we are witnesses. God is witnessing, but God is greater in witness. So now let's see some aspect of our lives that can be compared with. So for instance, if we take the notion of Quran chapter, let's say Quran chapter 11 verse 45, right? In chapter 11 verse 45, it says God is what? I'll put the verse on the screen. That is Surah Hud, chapter 11 verse 45. In that verse, at the last part of the verse, it says, Wa anta ahakamul hakimin. And God is the what? The master of the what? The judges. Or God is the what? Ahakamu, meaning the master of the wise ones. Hakimin, it means a judge. Hakim, somebody to judge. So God is the master of judges. So meaning among all judges, God is Ahakam. So this Ahakam, you see it in Arabic language, it has a superlative instance. That is the alif and the fat'ah on it. So this alif and the bil hamzat and then the fat'ah is just showing you that this is a superlative form. So this is Ahakamul Hakimin. God is the master of all judges. So which means there are other judges too. People can judge you, but God is the master. So in terms of the aspect of judging people, God can be put on top. Do you understand? Okay. Then again, the next example is found in Quran chapter 12, verse 92. In Quran chapter 12, verse 92, the last part of the verse, it says, وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ, which simply means, and he is the most merciful of those who are merciful. So Rahimin means people who are merciful. So God is the what? He is the master. He is the what? Most merciful. So the word used there in Arabic is arhamu. So this arhamu is to signify what? This arhamu is to signify what we call the most merciful of the rahimin. So in terms of showing mercy, other people can show you mercy. A king can show you mercy. And then God is the most merciful of all who are merciful. So that is another superlative instance. Then the next instance is found in Quran chapter 6, verse 62. In Quran chapter 6, verse 62, we go backwards. In Quran chapter 66, verse 62, it says, وَهُوَ أَسْرَعُ الْحَاسِبِينَ وَهُوَ أَسْرَعُ الْحَاسِبِينَ. So which simply means he is what? And he is the what? The swiftest of the reckoners. So God is the swiftest of the reckoners. So people who can reckon, for instance, in mathematics, for instance, in the game of chance, for instance, when it comes to the notion of, I was watching a video concerning Guinness World Record, where somebody has to put like a puzzle, a dicing cube made together, fastened together in different colors, and he has to throw 3 of them. Whilst throwing them, within 4 minutes, he fixed them as a puzzle, right? Now, that is being swift in order to make the calculation and then get it right. So when it comes to that, God is the swiftest of reckoners. If you can reckon something, God is always the swiftest of reckoning everything. And that is why on the day of judgment, everything you did will be reckoned to you and you have it in your hands. Then the next example is in Quran chapter 37, verse 125. Quran chapter 37, verse 125, it says, do you invoke Baal while leaving the best of creators? Now, this is another verse. Some people don't actually understand this verse. They think God is making mistake by saying the best of creators. So I'm going to help you out. God says, أتدعون البعل وتذرون الأحسن الخالقين. So God is asking a question. He says, do you invoke Baal while leaving the best of creators? Now, somebody is saying, does it mean there are other creators aside God? Yes, there are other creators. Who are the creators? This microphone I'm using was created by a human being. This cup I'm using was created by a human being. This computer, my phone, my laptop, by human beings. That is also a creation. The shirt, the necklace, The cap I'm wearing is also a creation. It's made by the human being. But the actual instance is God is the best of creators, because other people create. We have the people who build houses and so on. They are all creations. You understand? But the best of creators is God. Imagine God creating the heaven and the earth. You only created a palace. You built a palace, and God has to create the heavens and the earth. So obviously, He's the best of creators. Now, this act of comparison doesn't belittle God. He always take the highest position. But when it comes to the aspect of God, the deitiness, there is only one God. There is never ever any other side God. As the mushrik will keep saying, Allahu Akbar, meaning there is other gods next to God. So in terms of his godly aspect, he's only one, none else. That is why it's befitting for you to call him Al-Kabir. Chapter 13, verse 9, he calls himself Al-Kabir. We understand? So this is the logic behind all these evidences I gave concerning that. And there is no notion of calling God Allahu Akbar in the Quran. It is only the mushriks who have invented such from their garbage books, and they keep calling on God. Remember, follow the guidance of God and not the mushriks. So let me see some of the questions I wasn't able to answer on time. Nazir NSC says, as a Muslim, can I marry a woman from Sunnis religion and participate on their tradition? Now remember, Sunnis are following a tradition which is inherited from the hadith books, right? And that makes them mushriks. Yes, that makes them mushriks. So Quran chapter 2 verse 221 says you do not have to marry a mushrik, whether a man or a woman, you do not have to marry. He says even a slave bondmaid who is a believer is better than a mushrik. The mushrik will only cause you fitna in your house. They are inviting you to hell, because that's what mushrik do. If you say God says, they will tell you Imam Bukhari says this. If you say God says we should do this, they will say, no, the Imam Bukhari says we should do this. So they will prefer the mushrik ideology over what God says. That is the problem. So Quran chapter 6 verse 121, if you obey these devils, you become a mushrik as well. Right? So this is why you have to stay away from getting into such, courtship, and it's dangerous for your upcoming kids as well in the future. Now, the next question is Cassandra Lack says, Brother Shuaib, in this modern day, we have some people claiming to be Muslims writing some of the Quran verses, drinking it as medicine or guidance. So please, in Islam, does God allow us to drink Quran verses as medicine or guidance? The Quran is meant for you to follow the verses. It doesn't say we should drink the verses to have guidance. We have to follow the verses and act on it to attain guidance. So as for drinking of it, I don't see any notion of it being haram, unless if it has to be included with the form of shirk ideology. Then yes, it is prohibited. But if somebody has to drink it from their own understanding, thinking this is what I need from it, that is up to them. Because Quran chapter 17 verse 82 says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. So the Quran has a healing prowess, and as well as what? Mercy for the believers. So if somebody is a believer and willing to do that, and they don't involve any form of shirk, I don't see any problem with that. Ibrahim Berry says, is there any specific rakaat needed to be done to any compulsory prayer? No specific rakaat. Ibrahim Berry again says, I think the statement, obey Allah and obey the messenger, could be referred to the angel messenger, not the human messenger. It can be both ways. Human messenger has to do exactly what he has been instructed. Quran chapter 21, verse 27. Let me see if I remember the verse. That is, yes, Surah Al-Anbiya. They, the messengers, do not precede him in word, but they act by his command. So messengers also do as God has commanded them. They don't have to follow their whims and desires. So if God says, Ati'ullah wa ati'ur Rasul, the messenger himself is doing as God says. He doesn't have to do otherwise. So both the angel and the human, they are all following the message. So when we say God, obey God and obey the messenger, it is still the message the angel gave the human messenger, and then the human messenger is giving it to us. So that is the answer there. So let me see some of the things I've missed. I've done 2 hours, 20 minutes, and then I can bring the topic to an end. My voice is getting tinted because of what the mushrik came to do here. Dangana Ndagi says, please, Baba, tell me about calling to Salat, especially on Friday. There is no such thing. Calling to Salat. The Azan, the notion that they give you, it doesn't exist, right? I have videos on that where I'm explaining concerning all these points. If you can watch it, you understand this point. But right now, there's no specific way of calling. Say you are calling Azan, it doesn't exist in the Quran. This guy, I need to mute him here. This mushrik needs to go. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Let me check. Some people are asking something. For those on TikTok, let me see. Oh, sorry, I've not been reading the comments on TikTok, but let me see what I'm missing here. Auntie Pasti says, brother, keep the good work. We look at your work from Germany. People from all over the world are watching your stuff. I know that. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support all over, right? So I appreciate all of your support. People from the United States. Mostly I have my larger audience are coming from the US. And then my second largest audience are from Ghana. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. I know you're watching, but please let it be beneficial. Don't just watch me because you want to watch me. Watch me and take the evidences and the references I give you to study for yourself. And when you are beefed up and you have knowledge, you become a threat to the mushriks always. And that is why they are confused, right? They hate me so much, they wish they have the knowledge to fight me. So what they do is they try to cause like disturbance in your head so that you cannot concentrate. This is what they do. But you can see they never tried to move me an inch, right? I'll beat them with logic and they know that. Mushrikai. So let's see. What question did I miss? I'll just take some few questions before I go. Let me see here. Yeah, Baba said you're welcome. Yeah, I have to drink water. My water is actually finished here. Sister Natalia, I see you. You are welcome. Thank you. Let me see. Let me get some water before I go. For those on TikTok, let me see. Franco Vegas says, I have a question. Is the jinn kind smarter or superior than humankind? It is evident in the Quran. It tells us the jinns are smarter, right? They are smarter, yes, they are. And their smartness is what led Iblis to actually confuse Adam. It tells you how smart they are, right? Because Iblis himself was a jinn. So he was able to confuse Adam by giving him an advice. And also it tells us how people seek the refuge from the jinns. Quran chapter 72 verse 6. And they will increase you in burden if you seek refuge with them. And it tells you when you read chapter 27, Surah Al-Namal, concerning how the Ifritu min al-Jinn try to confuse Suleiman by telling him if he get up by the time he sit down, he will bring the throne. It tells you how smart they are. And that is why God, whenever God throws the challenge, he tells us, even if the jinn should support you. So he tells us that by the support of the jinn, yes, things, they are smart. Yes. So there are a lot of evidences in the Quran to show you the jinns are very smart and they are smarter beings. Umar Sharif says, Salam. Yes, Salam. I've not been able to see some questions on TikTok, and I don't know if it is just exchange between 2 people, 3 people, but it seems like I've missed some parts. Yeah, Zulfikar, yes, I didn't see your comment when you're commenting during my turn with the mushrik, right? I have it on video. I'll put it on Facebook, YouTube for him to see it himself. It's a mess. Maybe if he gets to listen to the playback, he will see how messed up he is. So if I bring such a nuisance on my program, of course, people will get tired. So I don't need to tolerate such nonsense. They lack logic, they lack reasoning, they lack common sense. Yes. Then they are just here to waste time. Yes. Robson says Abdurrahim needs to charge his power bank. I think he overcharged it actually, so he has to charge. Right now he's very emotional. He's typing bullshit on my program because he's emotional, and that's their problem. When they are emotional, they put it into words, and you see them typing all the bullshit as well. This is what they do. Such a mess. I'll commit suicide if I was a mushrik, like such a person. I've never agreed taking Propel off this program, but this Abdurrahim should go. Yeah, I know. Abdurrahim says he never agreed taking people off this program, but this Abdurrahim should go. Yeah, I already took him off, so no problem. Moblikan says, Abdurrahim, keep quiet. TCM says, brother is losing time. No problem. We can recover the time again. Anyas Kasi says, Abdurrahim is having listening problem. Yeah, he does. Robson says, he just keeps waffling. Yes, he was. Bro, this question is not worthy. Let's move on. Yes, a lot of even the audience know that person wasn't asking a worthier question. I only wanted to tolerate him because he thinks I'm running away. Such a mushrik. I need better people to run away. Is it this mushrik I'll run away from? No. Come on. How can the correctional officer run away from a nuisance, a knapsack like this? So let me silence him because he's causing disturbance to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I can answer some few questions before I go. Let me see here. Yeah, I've taken him off, so he cannot comment again. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tolerate some few questions before we go. Let me see here. Yeah, now I've taken him off. He cannot interrupt with the program. I've done 2 hours, 30 minutes. Now, by the way, this is the last stupid question he asked. Let me read the question. He asked a question. He says, then tell him to give a Quranic verse. He said a Quran verse that says we can read the Quran in those ways. Now, look at the stupid questions. Now, when these mushriks are questioning you based on the Quran, they want to belittle the Quran by using their foolish ideologies outside the Quran to superimpose the Quran, to make the Quran look stupid. So he's using a question. He says, then tell him to give a Quran verse that says we can read the Quran in those ways. You see how stupid it is? Now, I'll be willing to go deeper with any of their scholars in such a topic. With him, he's a mess to deal with. I can't handle such a nuisance on my program. It is just, a waste of time, right? So let's leave that for their scholars, and we will deal with their scholars at the right time when they come out for such a discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I've done 2 hours, 30 minutes. I'm getting exhausted. I'm tired. I need to drink water. If there's no more last question, I will have to end the program. Muhammad Mubarak says, can you explain chapter 10, verse 106? Let me see. Chapter 10, verse 106. Let's see here. Chapter 10, verse 106. Yeah. Chapter 10, verse 106. I put it on the screen. So chapter 10, verse 1, it says, and do not invoke besides God what does not benefit you nor harm you. For if you do, then indeed you will then be among the transgressors. Wadata GH says, Wadata GH Media says, do you agree with Shan Nation teachings? No, I don't. I don't agree with him. No, I don't agree with Shan Nation. Not at all. Yeah, I've seen some of his videos, but I don't agree. So Sister Natalia says what? About the adhan is not in Quran like you just explained. How is it a problem to like to listen to it? It is not about it being a problem. The problem is the things they say in the azan. That is the problem, right? The azan itself is not a problem. What they say in the azan, when we say azan in Arabic, it means announcement, right? That is azan. It means announcement. The one who calls the azan is called muazzin. So this muazzin is the one who calls the azan. So azan is to make an announcement. For instance, Quran chapter 22, verse 26 to 27, God asked Ibrahim to do the azan for people to come for Hajj, right? So this azan is an announcement. Wa'azzin finnas bil Hajj. So azin is to make an announcement. So this announcement, they are forged. They forged from their own hadith books. And that is what we are against, because it is not part of Islam. They invented that, right? So they say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashadu Allah. No. It's not from God, right? Yeah, Sister Alma, thank you very much for your time also. I appreciate the support. And yeah. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, let me see the last question I was missing out here. It says, wow, you are clearly ignoring me. I wonder why. And you say you don't run from anyone. Legacy contrast. I don't understand you. You saw me answering questions from people. If you are directing a question to me, give me a sign that you are actually directing a question from me. First of all, if you don't let me even look down on you by using the word says, and you say you don't run from anyone. Like, are you trying to insinuate that I'm running away from you? Number one, nobody knows you. Nobody knows how you look like. I don't see your face. I don't know who you are. How can I run away from someone I don't know? Does it make sense to you? In order to get my attention, you are here to ask a question to be helped. Call my attention and ask me a question. If you ask a question, do you think I'm here to see every question? Am I God? I'm here trying my best to answer the questions I can see and answer. If I don't see your question, call my attention. That is what you do. You don't just write stupidity like this. As if I'm running away. Are you going to pay me for what I'm doing or what? Do you pay me? Seriously? Akil Jackson says, when the azan is called on the day of Friday, proceed to the remembrance of her. That is better for you if you but knew what this means. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know how that makes sense to you. You're typing English statement to me and telling me what does that mean. Where are you quoting from? Check the verse in Arabic. Does it say exactly what you're saying, or are you telling me something else? In the Quran, there's no word mentioned Friday in the Quran. The word Friday doesn't exist in the Quran. So if you write a translation and you tell me when the azan is called on the day of Friday, first of all, where is Friday in the Quran? Okay, Akil Jackson says, I'm from Trinidad. Help me out. I have a video on YouTube that I've explained this, right? It's on my YouTube channel. You go to my live sections, if you go to the playlist, the live sections, I have it there. Check it. The answer is there. I cannot explain it right now. I'm exhausted. I've done 2 hours, over 2 hours, 30 minutes. You saw the mushrik who came to my program, how he was disturbing here, right? So that took all my energy here. Ashraf says, Salam, brother, how can we get taqwa? You get it from the words of God by practicing the things God instructed it to do. So that is why he gave us the book, Zalik al-Kitabu la rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin. So that by following the hudan of God, the guidance of God, you by intend God to you achieve what we call taqwa. You understand? So you follow the guidance of God, then you get taqwa in the Quran. Sunusi says, how do you know which verse is abrogated in the Quran? There is no verse abrogated in the Quran. You'll be a fool to think a verse has been abrogated in the Quran after God telling you, Zalik al-Kitabu la rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin. The book has no doubts therein. And out of your foolishness as a mushrik, you are claiming a verse has been abrogated, which means it's no more in use, which means that the verse is cancelled, is doubtful, according to your understanding. It's foolishness to think a verse has been abrogated. What is wrong with your logic? Every verse is in effect. Some messages in the Quran has to do with the context of a given line, but it doesn't timeline, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has been abrogated. Who the hell is teaching you guys? Wadata says, how do we have to pray or salah in the Quran? I have the lectures on my YouTube channel. The answer is there. Ashraf says, is it okay to have a Netflix account? We have to check the Quran to see if there's Netflix verse there. If it mentioned Netflix, we can use. Okay. Legacy Contrast says, jihad, should we fight the kuffar? No. It doesn't say go and fight the kuffar anywhere. You have to understand the context in which a command or a statement is made. God doesn't say go and fight a disbeliever. No, it doesn't say that. That is why Quran chapter 109 verse 1, you read downwards, it says, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, right? If you read up to the last verse, it says, lakum dinakum waliya din. It shows you that clearly the kafirun, they have what they are doing, you have what you're doing. So you don't have to pay attention to what they are doing. So where is the fight coming from? Somebody says, is football betting haram? Is football betting haram? Now we can classify that under maisir. And this maisir, fihima ithmun kabir. In maisir, there is a big sin and as well as benefit. So there's a beneficial aspect of it, but there's an aspect of it which can be haram. But entirely, I can't tell you it's haram. No. The hadith of Bedouins, buildings, high buildings, is it false? Any hadith outside the Quran is not true. They are false. So hadith outside the Quran has nothing to do with Islam. Bandwi says that is the book beyond any doubt, within its guidance for muttaqin. Yeah, brother, a question. What does kufur mean? When we say kafara, is to reject something, to deny something, to like, it's like to be ungrateful about something, even though you know about the thing, but you are ungrateful to it. So that is kufur, is to reject something. Somebody has done you good, you reject it. That is kufur. So when we say kufur, we are talking about rejecting something, denying something, being ungrateful to something. That is kufur, right? Aha. Yes, for the notion of farmers also, based on the root word and the structure of the words, based on the context you are talking about, it can be used for the farmers, of course. If you go to Quran chapter 48, verse 29, it has been used in the reference for farmers as well, right? So this word kafar can be used for the farmers, because farmers, they build a hole and cover it. So yes. God bless you, brother. Try out within. Yeah, thank you, Malam Tunde. Uh, Ashraf Erami says, any suggestion on how to get married to a believer? This is a topic I have to do again. Even though I have a topic about marriage and divorce. Try to watch it. It's on my YouTube. You are my WhatsApp number, so I'll try to send you the link and you can watch. Right? Habibur Rahman says, keep up the Quranic lecture. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate the support. Maroon Khalif, I see you. Salam. You are late, but you can rewatch the program. Thank you very much. God bless you, bandwidth. I appreciate that. Balogun says, you can take your time and rewatch. Yes, you can take your time and rewatch. Ladies and gentlemen, the correctional officer is finally tired. I need some rest. I need to get some rest. I think I need to bring back the correctional officer's den, right? Do you miss the correctional officer's den? If you go to my YouTube channel, I have what we call the den, the correctional officer's den. I have about 26 or 27 episodes that I have done, the way I deal with the mushriks. If you want to enjoy it, try to find the page on my YouTube channel, Bush2G9. You enjoy it. And I have to bring that back, start dealing with the mushriks again. Yeah. So thank you very much, Maroon Khalif. You're welcome. Guys, all these questions you want to ask me, you could have come earlier so that I can pin the questions and answer them. Not now, I'm exhausted. Questions keep coming in. Questions keep coming in. Questions keep coming in. Excuse me to say, for those who are married, right? For those who have wives, and excuse me to say, I know some of you have girlfriends in secret. But imagine a woman finding out some secrets about you, and then she is asking you multiple questions at the same time, just like the mushrik tried to do to me, asking me several questions at the same time. Which one am I supposed to answer? Do you see the point? So if you come to my platform and when I'm saying I'm exhausted, I'm about to go, don't keep up with the questions like this. Back. You make me speechless. You understand? So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I need to get some rest. There's always another day. I'll be available for you, inshallah. And I'm trying to do a program with there's this brother who has contacted me. It's brother Anwar Sheikh. I think he's based in South Africa. Inshallah, we might be doing a program, a discussion on some important topic. And also, I have a brother who is a Christian. I think they call him Folarin or something. He tried doing a program with me last Sunday, but it didn't materialize because of the timing. And also, I had some things on my way. So hopefully, maybe Saturday, I might be doing a program with this brother who is a Christian, apologetic. We might be doing a program on Saturday. We might be having a dialogue, a discussion about Islam. And also, yeah, that's just for it. If you're thinking I'll just bring somebody like Abdurrahim, this mushrik, he's not my match. I need their scholar. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for the support and time. I appreciate. Yes, this is the correctional officers den, and this is where I bring the topic to an end. For those on Facebook and TikTok, I say salam alaikum to you all. Peace be upon you all. We keep in touch again, inshallah.